Welcome to Vikings and Valkyries, an actual play podcast. We are playing When the Wolf Comes, a role-playing game where the sun never sets on the Viking Empire. My name is Ian Stewart Sharp, and I will be your wand bearer for the ongoing campaign, which we call the Thought and Memory Saga. Joining us this week are the three sole surviving members of the bloodbath ongoing. Welcome to you, Eagle Feeders.
Hello again. Good evening.
Thank you.
We haven't learned our lesson yet.
Still alive.
Now, Bill, we've all been waiting with bated breath for you to start playing. How is it all gearing up? Are we going to see a New Year resurgence?
Yes, absolutely. It's ramping up nicely. I'm about to launch some short games in Gamma World, which is a really old post-apocalyptic role-playing game, which has got some crazy systems that sound like a lot of fun. Just quick one-offs, and then I have an existing dungeon up there that's the original AD&D. We'll be adapting that to 5e, and then there are two more in that series that'll be going up. So a lot of new content going up, and I'm always looking to add additional titles. I'm hoping there'll be additional interest in some of these really old things. I have a bunch of old games, being old myself, so might provide a new experience for everyone. So yeah, I'm quite hopeful about all that.
You're using the word old when you should be using the word classic.
That's right. I'm a classic. That's what I'm going to start telling my adult children now.
Very good. Well, we look forward to getting the invites so that you can do the DMing for a change and give my larynx a rest. Let's resume with the usual format. So every week I like to see you earn your author or your inspiration points. And so let's see if you are overcome with divine madness this week. I don't know if you've detected, I always kind of link it to the adventure that is to come. So there is some kind of...
So the clues are in the stuff we haven't been exposed to yet. Is that correct? I just want to understand. Yeah, okay.
I'm giving you a kind of thematic intro to the episode with these questions.
Well done.
Well done. He said sincerely. All right, so you know from the end of the last episode that Bjarnarðr Bjarnarðson is now a Draugr, a revenant, also known as a Haugbúi or barrow dweller, or an Aptaganger, an again walker. These are perhaps less familiar to the modern listener or modern reader than the vampire that we all know from Dracula and Interview with a Vampire, everything, Anne Rice. So we all know how you deal with vampires. It's the crucifix, it's the garlic, it's the stake through the heart. What I'm going to ask you today for your inspiration point is, can you give me 3 precautions that Norsemen would take to prevent the dead wandering round? Obviously, throwing them off a cliff is not one of them.
Right.
Well, we thought it was.
Well done.
Yeah.
That was my guess.
That was the go-to, yeah.
Burning the bodies.
Oh, good.
Yeah, good guess.
I will give you that one on the basis that destroying the corpse was definitely one way to make sure that they wouldn't wander around afterwards. But generally speaking, the Norse buried their corpses in these barrows, and so those are the bodies that I'm talking about here. The barrow dwellers, the revenants, the grave thralls.
Was there some sequence of runes that they could carve or apply or something that would have an effect?
I will grant you that one on the basis that there were all kinds of runic curses against the dead. Runes were secrets. The magic words behind them would tie the corpses to their coffins or to wherever they were interred and prevent them from rising again.
How about something to do with the, and I'm not sure they have one, but the bone from a whale penis? Maybe just use that to pin them down.
They use them for everything.
It feels kind of in the right genre, the right worldview. Well, maybe that's just my worldview.
It's in the right kind of direction.
So we got
So
all
the-
the points. We got
The
all the
penis
points.
of something then.
No. I didn't say you got all the points. I said you were in the right kind of direction.
How about tying down or constraining the body? Like put them face down, and then if they wake up, then they can't move.
I'm going to give you that one in the sense that you were close enough, and let me explain. So, generally, the position of the body in the barrow or in the burial mound was indicative of whether they might rise again. So the Norse did a whole bunch of things, according to tradition, to confuse the dearly departed. One of the things that they did was to tie together their big toes, or to put needles through the soles of their feet to stop them being able to walk. Another thing they did was to take the corpse and to turn it around in midair so as to confuse a possible Draugur's sense of direction. All of those things were very similar to what you said, so in the interests of keeping you alive a little bit longer, we'll give you that inspiration point.
Hooray!
Yay, huzzah. So did they have a lot of trouble with the dead walking the land back then?
They did. They did. It's a common occurrence, and there's different types of Draugr as well. There's the land Draugr, and there's a whole subset of sea Draugr who would return with seaweed for heads. It's being a nautical group, the Norsemen would have foes from underneath the waves as part of their superstition and folklore. Now, you did get an inspiration point last week when your valiant cop heroes were here to answer those questions about the afterlife. You didn't tell them that they could spend those points, and you just let them die. But which means they're yours to trade in this time around. And again, just so that you're clear on the rules, it's not just converting a success to a failure. You can also use it to change a dice 6 roll to a 6, which is valuable for damage, it's valuable for fate rolls, it's valuable for wheels and woes. You have a finite pool. They may run out, as you found before. Again, feel free to use them in the first 5 minutes, or feel free to feel free to use them for when you might want to really make sure that stick of dynamite lands where you want it.
May I just add that this impending battle with the undead is really good timing, because this episode is going to release somewhere in the holiday season, and my understanding is in Norse mythology around the winter solstice is when the activity of the undead starts to increase. For them, the winter solstice was more about staying inside, because outside there are dangerous things. And Steve, Bill, we have ventured outside.
Yes, repeatedly. Yeah, and I think, CJ, even in modern times, there's a similar problem at this time of year. Relatives that we thought may have been long dead actually show up at the door. So, still a problem.
What's the Norse for bar humbug, I wonder?
If anyone should know, Ian.
The sentiment is a good one. It's certainly the case that these winter nights are all the more chilling in the Norse mythos. And as you will see from where you're sitting in the troll's tongue, with the evenings drawing in and the perpetual daylight changing, shifting towards 24 hours of night, you will probably find even more ghostly times ahead. Let's open up and zoom in on the scene where we left it. So the 3 of you survivors are standing on the Troll's Tongue, a large and imposing cliff that stretches out prominently from the surrounding tundra. Its rough, weather-beaten features rise sharply against the sky, and they create a sharp contrast to the open expanse around. You are standing there in a state of shock and awe, because you have just seen your new friend and colleague, or perhaps you didn't care for him at all, but Grettir Greycloak has just plummeted over the side of the cliff in the cold embrace of another former character, Hulif the Horse Gelder, who's now become Hulif the Headless. And that is where we pick up. The endless daylight of summer is giving way to these shorter days and lengthening shadows, and out of the shadows lurch these grave thralls. Also, you heard the sound of Bjarnarðr Bjarnarðson returned to life, walking again as a Draugr. Somewhere out there, Bjarni is lurking. But as far as you're concerned right now, you just have these 5 grave thralls lurching towards you, arms outstretched. Some of them have heads and utter guttural cries. Others are decapitated and as silent as the grave.
All right, guys, what weapons do we have?
I got a Hrith Skotabisa.
Oh, yeah.
Storm shooter. It's a machine gun. Gigi with a machine gun.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yes, I was going to say that's going to end well.
In the previous episode, Gigi had arranged for you to take 2 storm shooters, one of which has presumably gone over the troll's tongue into the abyss beyond with Grettir Greycloak. He arranged for you, Bill, to take a hail stick, or what we would know as a shotgun.
Okay.
Presumably we're in combat right now, right? So if I wanted to enhance my Hrith Skotabisa with a spell, it would burn a turn.
Yeah, we'll launch straight into combat and give you the ability to take that fast turn and go first. Troll's Tongue is a long, not very thin precipice, but certainly there are choke points. There is the ability to retreat further up the cliff. There'll be less room for all of those ghouls and ghasts to surround you.
Oh, so gather them in a smaller area.
A choke point, if you will.
Yes.
I came up with that myself. I want everyone to know that.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll catch on?
It might.
You should also be aware that, as I've said before, there is a 700-meter drop to the icy depths below. Falling off the troll's tongue would prove fatal.
Okay.
Quick confirmation, the undead do not have weapons? Outstretched hands, you said?
1 or 2 of them may have a sea axe or some kind of rusty blade. They don't appear to have the ability to wield melee weapons or ranged weapons with any degree of competence.
Okay.
They're effectively feral beasts ripped from the grave. Then some kind of entangled spirit is animating the mouldering body and driving them with this terrible rage.
Okay. So above the table still, should we be finding a choke point where we can kind of force them to come into a concentrated area and then just blast away?
Yeah. Are we between them and the edge of the cliff, or are they between us and the edge of the
Good
cliff?
question.
If the apex of my hands is the tip of the tongue, where you would have no choice apart from to dive off the edge, then they are appearing at the base by my thumbs. They have effectively cut you off. If you were to burst through them, then you would be able to get to the kind of the mainland, to the tundra, and flee back in the direction of Houtmakar. Otherwise, you have to retreat up the troll's tongue.
May I take a quick action and start shooting to cover their retreat to the choke point?
There's at least 20 yards between you and these creatures, so it puts them at medium range. They all homed in on poor Grettir, so you've got 2 turns before they were right on top of you, and more were you to retreat to a different vantage point.
I'm going to take a fast turn to try and take one down, explicitly to see if they have any resistances. Like, if the machine gun doesn't work, then we can run.
That's
Okay.
excellent thinking. Yeah.
I will also take a shot at long range then, or cast a spell at long range then.
I'm I'm going to move back towards the choke point, and then I want to cast the biting charms on my shotgun to make it more effective. Should those two fall in battle, I will remember them.
So that's a given. Okay. Then, Bill, we'll let you do that. You're going to back off, putting perhaps 10 yards between you and your comrades. CJ, did you want to fire using the automatic fire rules, the burst rules?
Yeah, I'm going to Rambo this.
Attaboy.
Automatic. Also, I have special dice that my friend gave me that are quote unquote Viking dice, and so hopefully I roll higher than a 3 today.
Very nice. All right, so you're going full auto.
Yeah. So how many turns does that give me with 20 ammunition?
You had 20 ammo total, so that's going to give you 2 bursts with that before you'd have to switch to your shotgun.
Gigi is going to be quite imprudent with this, and he's going to full automatic first round.
Such a change of behavior. I can hardly believe it.
What? He's honor bound. He's stood his ground every time. He just hasn't rolled high.
I was being sarcastic. I apologize.
So the rules for this are a little bit different. So why don't you? Because you don't actually have to roll because you're spraying the whole area, and these creatures don't have cover because they're standing out in the open. So why don't you describe to me your stance and what you're doing with this storm shooter? And then I will tell you how it's affected the creatures.
That's a good one. So can I use Orlog on this spray? Because as a Varangian, I can use Orlog on a successful roll.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is creatures in an area, which is pretty much all 5 of them, are going to make a slight challenge roll to reduce the damage, and they'll take half damage unless they roll a 20 or more.
Oh, but I can try and hit all 5 with the machine gun, and then with Orlog I get 1d6, and because they're haunts, I get an additional 1d6. Let's do this.
Wow.
Let's go. All right, so Gigi's going to take if there are any tennis players out there, wide stance, shoulder length apart, aim it like Rambo, and he's going to say, "More lead bullets, please!" and fire.
Now, Orlog, it's 1d6 extra damage per rank of spell that you expend. So minimum is 1d6. So are you expending a rank 0 spell, a rank 1, or a rank 2?
Ooh, well, it's my first shot. Let's do 2.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
All
Yeah.
the things.
Big out of the gate.
You're going to do 2d6 for the storm shooter in general, 2d6 extra for the spell you've just expended, and 1d6 for the fact they're haunts. So it's going to be 5d6 that they're going to take at least half of.
Okay, so a total of 13 plus 1 more. Another 3. 16 total.
Your hail of bullets flies into the charging grave thralls and blasts some of them backwards onto the icy ground in a shower of rotten flesh. 2 of them stumble forward still. They are limping as opposed to looming.
Excellent.
Okay. I would like to cast Wounding Wand at one of them, if I may. They're at medium range, you said, right?
Correct.
Okay, so this is medium range. So a shockwave is directed at them. I compare my wits against their might. I'm going to get because of deep-minded, I'm going to get a wheel.
Now remember, as a scratcher, you can also boost that spell.
Yeah, you know what? Might as well. I think Gigi has really set the example here to just go all in from the word go, and the consequences are a problem for future us. So that's going to be okay. So 2 wheel then, if I'm reading this right.
Yep.
Okay, that's 8, and then I take the best one, so that makes a total of 13.
Then your shockwave strikes home.
That's happy news.
Your Gan spell delivers the shockwave and it knocks one creature right off its feet, toppling it to the ground. Do you want to give me the damage?
Yes. 2d6 plus 1 adds up to 8. 8 points of damage.
The feet that you just knocked it off remain on the tundra as they separate and sever from the shins. It will now only be able to crawl towards you.
Yeah, I slowed it down pretty good. All right.
Now, we do have to do a couple of things, though, here, because these are frightening creatures. So I've let you give those volleys, those bursts of attack, but I do want you to all make a will roll. I'm going to give you one wheel because you have responded with extreme prejudice and already blasted them.
That's not good. 9 minus
Are you using
3.
the Viking dice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Total of 6.
Um,
I have a feeling Gigi's about to run for the hills.
Again, as a reminder, you do have the steadfast ability that enables you to reroll.
Ooh, yes. May I? I invoke the steadfast
Well
gift.
Oh, yes.
Odin, hear my call.
So your ancestral spirit bolsters your belief. When you become frightened, you can use a triggered action
I sense
to
a
make
problem.
a will challenge roll.
Let's go with the first roll.
Just kind of a feeling.
The second one's not worth mentioning. I rolled a natural
These
1.
are the Viking dice, are they? Are these the Viking dice?
Yes. Yes.
There's no helping you, CJ.
No, it's
No, not. I had a good rainbow moment, and
I
that'll
rolled
be it.
16 plus 2, and then I minus 1 because of my will is low. So altogether, I got a 17. So I'm having no problem.
Okay.
altogether I'm at 10.
Said with confidence, Steve.
Okay.
No, I'm confident it's at 10.
Gigi has got the frightened affliction, which means that 3 woes on any attacks that you make. The good thing about burst fire is because you're not making a roll that is rolling for damage, it doesn't necessarily affect you, but it sounds like you're down to your last spray. Let's go to the top of the next round. The creatures will all take a slow turn and move towards you as best they can, desperate to grab you in their grave-like grasp.
I recommend more violence.
Can I shoot at them from where I am without endangering my fellows, or am I too far back now?
No, I think that your field of fire will be clear if needs be.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead, Gigi.
I was just going to ask, can I take a slow turn and move back beside him, and then do a second round of
You can? Yep.
machine gun burst?
Good luck.
Okay.
Good luck,
Yeah.
Air.
Also, also a slow move to move
I
back
see.
and cast.
Good choice.
I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
Okay, so you all 3 stand shoulders abreast now, ready to face the onslaught of the
Very
grave
heroic.
thralls. Let's go with Gigi first as he backs up, stammering and spluttering, not steadfast at all, but able to cover his retreat with a blaze, a hail.
More
of
God
bullets.
than man.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not them I'm afraid of, it's the awesome power of this gun!
No one suspects a thing.
Full machine gun burst, number 2. And may I...
Slightly less dice now because you can't use a second level. You can't expend the casting of a second level spell, so it would be 4 dice.
Because I could still do Orlog with the level 1 spell.
Correct.
Lovely. All right, let's do it. Let's spray him. Let's see. First roll is 7 plus... Ooh, 12. Nice. So, 19.
Nice.
Okay, you unload your submachine gun rounds into the creatures. The 2 ones nearest you are reduced to a shredded heap of tainted carnage.
Nice.
The other 3 behind them are still walking forwards into your onslaught. They are hit by the bullets, and blood and fragments of bone enrich the chilling Arctic wind.
Oh God, the smell! Of the gun, not that.
Oh, right, yeah.
The shambling horde is very much reduced, Steve and Bill, so take your attacks. Steve, what did you want to cast? Anything?
Well, I was thinking, a point from last time, they cannot be frightened, can they?
They cannot.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't miss anything there.
Whether out of mindlessness or fury, they are immune to the frightening
Or just
condition.
bloody-mindedness. Winning one hits the hardest, so I'm going to try it again, because it worked so well last time. And, yeah, he's slow to adapt, so what the hell? So we're going to make another wits... We're going to cast Wounding Wand again. That would be another wits attack roll against their might.
And are you again using your Scratcher ability?
They're still coming, aren't they? Yeah, this is. I think he's getting alarmed about the whole thing already. That they've been sprayed twice and they haven't gone down yet. So yes, we will use it again because bad choices are how we move forward.
Now's the time, and use an inspiration should the thing arise. In fact, maybe Gigi should have used one of our inspiration on that roll. Anyway.
So it's 16, and then we add the large. So that makes a total of 20.
Okay, roll your damage.
20. Okay, so. Yeah, attack roll 20 plus, target takes an extra die 6, so that's 3d6 plus 1. Come on, dice. Don't disappoint. Total of 10.
So with grim resolve, you cast your Gan spell, and the nearest grave thrall, one with a head, at least temporarily, for it explodes in a gruesome splatter of gore and mist.
Nice. Or, I mean, that's terrible.
You are now faced with just one of the horde lurching forward. Clearly one of the bodyguards is still wearing the livery of Finnbogi Asbjørnsen is the only one that is still advancing. Before we do that, though, Steve, I do need you to make a will
roll. Yes.
Because such is the path you have chosen, that you hear the whispers of the yawning void and the entities that dwell there. Mm-hmm. So roll a will roll with 2 woes.
Okay, reduce and subtract the largest one. So my total is 6. There's no way for this to go wrong.
So what happens is this: at any round in which you've strained yourself by tinkering with the tapestry of probability, by willfully warping the environment with your troll scat, what happens is that reality begins to fracture around you, and you've got 2 power, correct?
I have... that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that question. Yes, I have 2 power.
So there is a fracture in reality, and unless you're spending an inspiration point to convert that to a different result, your comrades are both going to take 9 damage.
No, we're...
What are you going to choose, Steve?
Just this once, I'm going to choose the inspiration instead. Next time, though.
Okay, so your strain is still building. This is the challenge of being one of the wayward wise that can snap reality. Is you're best to cast your spells a little bit away from your friends, because that way, if you do detonate existence, they won't be caught in the blast radius.
Okay, from a sphere of radius equal to your... Oh, the radius in yards equal to your strain total. Oh, so it's only 2-yard radius.
Yeah, you just need to not be right next to them when you...
I'll just angle off a bit as I back up.
We now go to Leomi, the gun-toting Alpha, and the avenging angel of Yggdrasil is now about to... Are you going to unleash those powers?
Let's let this last one have it right in the... Does this one still have a head? If so, in the face. Or body, chest,
Is it a case of, you want to wander up, insert the barrels into the head of the grizzly boar?
I am tempted, but that sounds more like a Gigi move than a Leomi move. I think Leomi will take a step back and blast with both barrels, hopefully moving the other 2 slightly in front.
Okay, Give me your damage roll.
So it's 2d6, but no reduction for haunts or whatever, because I cast that spell. Oop. Screwed up.
What do you mean, oop?
I made a typo. 6 points of damage.
6 total. You take your hail stick, you pump a blast into the Grave Thrall's chest, and the pellets all rip through its rib cage and fly off into the tundra beyond. The creature doesn't so much as grimace or bat an eyelid. It remains fixed on you, determined to reach out and drag its putrid claws along your bark. However, you sidestep just in time and it stretches its grasp into the air, missing you entirely.
It's about time somebody else missed, don't you think, fellas?
Next round. So one remaining adversary standing toe to toe with you. Its toes a little bit more rotten than yours.
All right, well, I'm going to use the shotgun as a club, which I believe is an option. Holy Christ.
Nice.
I blame CJ.
Oh.
I rolled a 1. Oh,
get him out
my
now.
Goodness. Oh,
I'm curious how you blame that on CJ.
just unfairly. I unfairly blame it on CJ.
Okay, fair enough.
That's very straightforward.
No, that's fair, yeah.
Hey, at least we're getting them out now.
Yes, don't want to waste them on combat.
I'm wondering if I should use an inspiration on that, but I'm going to open it up to the group to see what we think. Should I use an inspiration to reroll?
Well, we have one creature
Yeah.
left,
Yeah.
and it's already wounded.
You
Yeah.
have no bullets left.
That's fine. I've got a
Okay.
sword.
I have spells.
And,
Okay.
I can also I can heal you with analgesics.
Okay, well, I have a lot of healing skills. So
okay.
that
No one has as yet been wounded, and this grave thrall that stands in front of you is sluggish.
all right, let's
but
save it then.
forceful.
I think is what we're leaning towards. Yeah. Okay.
It's aiming to swing its decaying arm at you again, perhaps with a rot-infected claw at your face. But if you're taking fast turns, you may well dispense with it before such time as it lands.
Dispense
back
with
below.
it. Dispense with it.
I'm going to take a slow. What about you, Gigi?
You're taking a
I'm
slow.
going to take a
Yeah, because I'm going to I'm going to get 13 plus feet away from you.
Oh, I see.
Remember that?
Grilgoth is going to draw his sword and hack at the thing, in the legs to try and take it down. Drop it down.
Okay, make your might attack roll.
Now, I have a woe, correct?
You do actually have 3 because this frightening creature in front of you, its teeth gnashing as it tries to take a bite out of Naomi's branches. The Barrow Fiend causes you to recoil in horror.
All right, here we go. Not too bad.
What does that mean in the context of tonight's rules?
I like it.
It's a
Oh, yeah.
15,
Oh,
and then my highest woe is 5, so 10. Does a 10 hit?
Does a 10 hit? It does not.
poop.
You strike wide and growling with unadulterated hunger. That last grave thrall prepares to lunge with its decaying fist.
Apparently it's a vegetarian. It's probably screaming, grains.
Oh, wow.
Fortunately for you, that decaying fist again passes wide. So, Steve, your slow turn, you may resolve that.
Yeah. Air will back up away from the undead and from the rest of and from his companions,
Yep.
so as to not blow them up. And then, because he's a humanitarian that way. And I want to make sure we drop this thing. So we will use... Yes, it's Ganfly that lets me...
automatically hit?
Yeah, lets me automatically hit. I don't have to worry about any rolling or anything like that. 1d6 damage, and it must make a might... If it's a creature, make a might challenge roll or become fatigued. But I'm not sure how much fatigue applies to the dead.
Okay, so roll your damage.
Oh, that's spectacular. That would be a 1.
Jesus Christ.
Boink.
I blame CJ.
Again?
Now, you could use your inspiration point again to turn that 1 into a 6.
Could.
Do it.
Yeah, do it. That's...
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. I will defer to the will of the collective. And Air will somehow find inspiration to guide that destructive pulse right into the face or facial area of the recently departed.
Yeah, well, the divine madness comes upon you, and the spell hits with a bone-crushing thud, and the skull of the grave thrall crumples into blood and gore and falls in pieces to the tundra below. All 5 of those thralls are now dispensed with, leaving you alone on the troll's tongue. Somewhere, Bjarnarðr Bjarnarðson still resides. He was not amongst those bodies.
Do I have to deal with the strain now?
No, because you didn't incur an extra strain in that.
Oh,
because
okay.
it automatically hit, so you didn't have to add a wheel. So it's only on a round where you incur extra
additional strain. Okay, so the strain that has already been incurred remains. It
Correct.
doesn't disappear. Okay. Yeah, no, this is a slowly building problem. That's great. I'm looking forward to it.
You are a ticking time bomb.
In so many
exactly
ways.
That.
In so many ways.
So, standing alone on the windswept troll's tongue behind you, the path back to Helpmakar, there's nothing that would reveal immediately where Bjarnarðr Bjarnarðson is hiding. Tree sight certainly reveals no hidden or illusory characters.
Griotgath is going to investigate the fallen haunts, and if they still have legs attached to anything that resembles a body, he's going to cut them off with his sword to make sure that they can't start walking again and follow.
Wonderful.
Good thinking.
Perform a little bit of cliffside dismemberment.
Yes. An eloquent way of putting it.
a little hack and slash, and yes, reduce everything to bloody chunks.
Just so that they can't get back up again.
Very wise. Very wise.
And while doing that, also looking around for the tracks where these haunts came from. See if there are any tracks to be followed.
So the haunts all came from, all wandered, all shambled and shuffled from the direction of Helpmakar. Anyone that was killed in the course of the preceding adventure obviously then arose and followed you to Clifftop. Valtoki and the law speaker Krapti Thorfridson have both asked you to dispose of the bodies. You didn't. You left them lying around, and they all got up and just followed you to the edge of the world.
I believe we just disposed of them.
Yes, we were getting to it.
There was just a time delay. We were gonna deal with them eventually. And in actual fact, you did save yourself some of the kind of legwork and brow sweat because you just let them perambulate
What
here
you
on their own.
misinterpret as a delay was actually a brilliant plan.
Now, I will remind you of the riddle that was daubed in the wall in Cow's blood, that It said, I hold to a secret land ward, the rudder of speech, the oar of words, the guardian of the corpse fjord. There the icy stream under dark hills goes downwards. That was the clue that was left in the barrow, and you had determined that there might be some kind of hidden cave underneath the Troll's Tunnel.
Right.
Okay.
Of course, getting down to that cave is a different matter entirely, since there is a truly terrifying drop of 700 meters, and the last person that attempted it, Grettir Greycloak, let's just say that there's not much margin for error.
The first 699 meters are actually pretty straightforward.
Yes, it's just the ending that's a bit tricky. Do you have Featherfall among your spells, Steve? Just blue skying here a little bit.
No, that's a very relevant question.
Ironically, in Old Norse, there would be something like Fjaldarhammer, which would be feather form, feather shape. The Norse gods like Freya had a falcon cloak and would often go flying.
Yeah, that's what I meant. What did I say? I meant to. That's exactly what I meant.
That's exactly what I meant.
CJ does have things in his repertoire that are of value here.
He could probably climb down one-handed while singing his own praises, I imagine.
Yeah, he would.
I mean, he's a rope-pulling expert. That's got to count for something.
Yeah, if only we had rope.
If only you ever came out prepared.
Well, Ian, you say that, but it's really not our style. And I think it's added a lot to the adventure over time. That need to just improvise in every sense.
At least now you have flares. 8 episodes in,
flares,
you
that's
have
right.
flares.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact,
Next up,
I'm carrying them
yeah.
in private life now as well, since she sent that news story about the bear attack in Ontario. So,
Yeah.
sorry, CJ, you were
Yes,
trying to
well,
do
what's
something useful. Go ahead.
I don't know.
You were trying.
What's in a bailout bag?
parachute, ideally.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Stuff in a bailout bag is all of the things that are necessary for you to survive in one handy kit form. So it includes a pack, sleeping bag, mat, multi-tool, lighter, tinder, headlamp, lantern, tarp, a week of ready-to-eat
Power bars.
rations, 20 yards of cordage, and a water
wait,
We brought
20? Yeah,
ropes.
we got ropes. Yeah, please, no ropes.
Do you all have a bailout
of
bag
course.
with 20 yards of
What?
cordage?
And if we tie 3 20-meter or 20-yard ropes together, we get 700 meters.
That's correct.
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
yeah,
that's,
no, that's
that,
right.
that's
The
how it
math
converts.
works.
Yeah.
And of course we have a bailout
No.
bag because we're not idiots, despite recent evidence.
You don't have one, do you?
No, I have a bailout bag.
Are there
Go ahead, CJ, sorry.
are there any tracks leading to the side from where we're standing along the edge of this cliff in any direction at all?
He's smart.
He is. Good thing he's here.
and no, they were not.
Well, I
Yep.
tried.
Oh, well, nothing more we can do. Back to town.
I could use a drink.
I can use a latte.
If you recall, two things. There was a lot of confusion around flying bears and thrown rocks and all kinds of other things that were potentially the cause of Finnbergi's death, but there were no tracks around
shit,
his
right,
body either. Now, CJ, you've dabbled with Runar or Runecraft, and you should have spells that can alter reality itself by carving the runes. Yeah, and you've got Limrunar, no?
No, that is not one of the ones I have picked out.
No,
Unless I
no,
get
check
them all,
again.
but
I think you'll
Yeah,
find
no, definitely.
it's there.
I'm fairly sure from your
Maybe
level
in
3
pencil,
count you
but-
did.
From the
I'm editing it. I mean, I'm checking it now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's right here in pencil.
Branch. No, it's branch. I think it's called branch runes.
Branch runes, yeah. For the duration, it can move. Oh, I can move across walls, ceilings, overhangs, and I don't even need to make a challenge roll to climb.
Yeah, so CJ, Branch Runes is a spell that you have and would enable you, were you to cut those magic markings onto a rope or some such, it would give you the ability to scale down at least a portion of the troll's tongue while that spell was in effect.
Isn't how tall is this thing? Isn't it 600-700 feet tall?
Meters, yes, 700 meters.
Oh yeah, that's
It
worse.
is quite a bit, almost 3 times worse. Yeah.
But the duration is 1 hour.
So, I mean, but I would be climbing down the. Well, what do I do with?
You
my two
carry
companions?
us,
Just
clearly.
leave
You
them
string
there?
us on ropes, one over each shoulder. You're more god than man.
Mm-hmm.
Good God, God man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen that work in my favor a few times. Okay, so I could use branch runes and tie these ropes so that I can bring everybody
And if
down.
you drop the robot, no one's
And then-
upset.
And then climb down. But the key here is, can I do 800 meters? Yeah, in an hour, probably. I mean, if it runs out, we'll just go faster.
I'm going to make your dilemma a little lighter in that if you were to do as I said and cut the branch runes into your rope or your climbing equipment, then it's actually, you don't have to go all the way to the ground, because about 50 meters down there is a series of hidden ledges hidden from the vantage point of being on the troll's tongue proper. The hidden ledges are used by nesting seabirds, and they reveal the entrance to an ice cave where the constant summer sun has warmed the ice and the meltwater has created a channel that goes down all the way to the bottom of the glacier. And so while it is, this is kind of elemental confluence of ice, water and rock, but this cave, as you see it from your vantage point on these hidden ledges, is the epitome of polar beauty. It is stark and glistening and also incredibly dark within.
Like me. Magnificent.
Did you say 50 meters?
50 meters, yeah.
So our three things of cordage could have gotten us there.
But you did it with style. You did it with runes.
We did it with runes. Now you're thinking with runes.
All right, so cut the runes into the ropes, got us down. Okay, we're in 50 meters. Gigi looks around and says, "Who has the flares?"
I guess I do. I kept insisting
Someone.
on them.
Anyone.
I certainly do. Here they are.
You kept telling us. you
Great
did.
handfuls of them. Do not some of us see in the dark as well? Or have I misconstrued that?
Not Gigi.
No, air has, it's infrared. Does not
Not quite the same.
it's not quite the same thing,
So when
but
Exactly. So
better than
without
not, see?
well, not in this instance, because without man-made light, the darkness is so complete, your infrared vision can't detect any temperature variation.
Once we light the flare, you better cover your eyes. I'm thinking.
Lighting a flare would have, in front of your face would effectively dazzle you. So yes, you are going to need to shine a headlight, a headlamp. You do have those in your bailout bags as well.
Okay.
See, all of this time you've had all of these things at the bottom of a rucksack, and now they're coming.
Well,
in.
no, we all thought they were parachutes. I mean, that's all that's happened there.
yeah.
even then, useful
Yeah,
on the
that's
troll's
true.
tongue.
Yeah,
Okay. My
yeah.
cover story's falling apart. Okay.
So if you do shine your headlamps or light these flares, the darkness gives way to this main passage, which reveals a glittering cathedral of snow and ice.
And no footprints.
Still no footprints, but here it would be hard to leave a trace. The ice cave has been etched into the side of this glacier, and you can hear the haunting sound of trickling water that echoes as it drips from the icicles that hang overhead. The floor itself is a very slippery plain of hardened ice, and they're dotted here and there with air pockets that are caught in time. The cave might offer a haven away from the winds outside, but it is cold and unforgiving, and the floor is incredibly slippery.
We should investigate further. Let's go.
From the back of the cave, out of sight, somewhere amidst the glistening ice, you hear a voice call out,
"Call me Bjarni. Oh, boy. I thinks we got off on the wrong foot. See, Bjarni just took what was rightfully his. The deed to the whole shebang."
I believe he mentioned the deed
He did.
that we've been looking for. How convenient.
I think he's narrowed down the search.
Should we ask him for it?
We could start with that.
Yes, let's ask him for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start. Bjarni! Hello? Show yourself! Come say hello!
Foul-spoken coward. You thunder with your tongue, but with your weapon, nothing dare perform.
I'm reloading my shotgun.
Leomi, darling, light of my life. I'm not gonna hurt you.
Yes, not for you, old friend.
You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your branches in.
I snapped the shotgun closed.
I have to be able to see him to cause mocking taunts.
Yeah, and it would affect him in combat. But feel free to yell out abuse. There is a gulf between you, a gulf of icy cathedral floor between you and wherever he is lurking, presumably holding the deed that you believe he may have.
Bjarni, why are you hiding from us? I can't see you. Come closer.
I had a most terrible nightmare. I dreamed that I killed you, but I didn't just kill you. I cut you up into tiny little pieces.
I believe we've gotten off on the wrong foot. Bjarni, you and I have not formally met. I'm Griotgath, the Magnificent. My friends call me Gigi for short.
Come in further, and I'll tickle your catastrophe.
I'm going to cast Sharp Runes on my sword.
No heat sources, right?
No heat sources. Everything within the ice cave is the same temperature.
Okay.
Air, bodies, ice.
Griotgath is going to start walking toward the voice.
I'm casting Weapon Song on my shotgun.
You're less casting weapon song and you're more bursting into the Alpha song. You're banging your winnowing drum and you're very much announcing your arrival in melodic tones.
Indeed. Exactly that. That is what I meant to say.
Air is casting Helm of Concealment to become
That would enable you to become hidden.
Yes, it would. Yes. I don't want to complicate things.
I am going to ask all of you to make a slight roll.
Slight roll with... no, that's...
1d20.
Okay, slight roll 13.
Same here, 13.
Also 13.
Wow.
We are
Lucky
totally
13.
in lockstep. Yeah.
Lucky 13. You threaten to slip and slide and fall flat on your face, but you manage to steady yourselves, perhaps leaning up against each other with those rolls, and you do realize that were you to move with any speed here, then you might come a cropper. So if you move faster than half speed during your turn, I'm going to ask you to make a slight roll. Unless within your pack of many things you have crampons or any kind of... you don't
Are the feet of the droid body have treads or cleats of some sort?
Your antiquated hunk of junk
Oh, excuse me.
is as susceptible to falling over as
Don't
anyone
hold
else.
back in your description.
No need to be rude.
Wow. I guess we advance carefully. I mean, I don't know what else we can do. We have to go find this.
Shithead.
Yeah.
Okay.
This cave is also filled with an evil reek, a foul stench of decay that wafts out from the broken body of the Draugr beyond. Can you all make a might roll for me, please?
Is this to hold back the vomit?
In this case, Steve, I am going to accept you, though, because your nasal sensors are immune to this kind of thing.
Also,
Bill's rolling his eyes and holding his
also
head
I
in his
don't have to
hands.
breathe.
I rolled a
15.
30, I think. No, a 3. Turned out it was a 3,
Yeah.
not a 30.
Oh, yeah. Decimal point.
Oh, my God.
Unfortunately, you suffer from breathing in the stink of the bloated and hideous creature. The vile stench means that you are impaired for the next round. That's an extra whoa.
Whoa.
I feel like I wrote the rule book just for you to make that.
Yeah,
round.
absolutely. I hopefully I've been keeping
That
it
can't be
down
the
to
first time.
once a week, but I probably haven't.
That's because this creature is horrifying. I will need you all to make a will roll, please.
Not a problem. We've been rolling really well. Use the Viking dice, CJ.
Yeah, I got a 19 plus, what's my will? 1.
Can I give
Dirty
a
20.
guest counsel because of deviancy? Like, I mean, this seems like a pretty abnormal, messed up thing going on. It's worth a try.
But not connected with magic or ritual. That's when I've ruled that you can use it.
Well, it's worth a try.
This is simply a creature that craves its former life so much that it's clawed its way back to terrorize the living.
I think Air would actually empathize with this.
You could be buds.
Sure.
Yeah, she's going, oh, no, I understand this guy.
Feel free to bond in heartfelt embrace.
I rolled a 13, and then I add 3 for my will, so 16.
Resolute trio
Brave and
facing down the Draugr, the bloated and hideous creature described in Norse legend as Hellblah or Hellblue. How would you like to proceed? You have overcome the general hideousness of its necrotic dead flesh and reek of decay. You are now face to face with this second abomination.
Oh, so we see it. What range is it at?
It is within the penumbra of your headlamps.
I think you should try and talk to it, Air.
So medium range.
Thank you. Medium well.
I'm going to taunt it. Mocking taunts.
What is your mockery?
You
Give me
smell like my grandmother's cat's farts.
And slightly of elderberries.
It's almost as if Snorri Sturluson came up with that one himself.
Well, is it affected?
Were he to attack, he would be forced to do so with one word.
Steve, I think you should talk to it. I think that you... Or are you hiding?
You're totally hiding.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Do we have the flare? Do we have a
Yes.
flare? I believe these abominations don't particularly enjoy fire. You should light it.
Perhaps not me, being that I am made of wood. I will pass you a
light
flare.
it. Give me the
I would
flare.
like the GM
All
to
right, Gigi's
acknowledge
going to-
that my character is learning. Staying away from the fire.
Bjarni says to you, as you insult him and taunt him, he says,
You, minion, are far too saucy. The tartness of your face sours ripe grapes.
Wow, he's out taunting you.
How dare you? Light. Gigi's going to light the flare. We're doing sound effects now.
Yeah, no, it's
It
good.
was a good one.
It's
Yeah.
good.
it was save the audio budget, thank you. And so you're lighting the flare and tossing the flare?
Nope, just pointing it at him. See if he's affected by the light, the fire.
He doesn't appear to be, and he just says,
Your kiss is as comfortless as frozen water to a starved snake. Your face is not worth sunburning.
Don't take that. Come back at him, CJ. Come
Yeah,
on.
come on. You got this.
He's really good.
Boy.
Trying to think of any insult that I can pull out.
Naomi says to the creature, may we see the deed, the famous deed that proves your rights to the land?
You may. Up close and personal.
Then his body dissipates into a roiling cloud of smoke that flies towards you like a gale force, and then resumes its normal form right next to you and glares at you fearsomely as it swipes one of its long necrotic claws in your direction. And your defense is...
My defense is...
Insanity.
So my defense is 12.
His talons rake down your side, and you suffer 9 damage. You realize that this grave walk ability, this ability to transform into a gaseous cloud, is how you saw the creature depart from the rooftop, and presumably how it slew Finnbergi without leaving footprints.
All right.
May I taunt him again?
Oh,
Seems that the least you could do.
taunt at will.
You call that a swing? My grandmother churns butter harder than that.
What would you like to do in the face of the onslaught of this creature from beyond the
Well,
grave?
I guess I'm going to unload the shotgun on him. He seems to have suggested this is, we're not going to have a discussion about real estate law.
No?
Yes, go. By all means, off you go. Roll your
Okay.
slight roll.
Oh, that's better. I rolled a 12 and then I add 2, so 14 together.
The creature is as bloated as an ox, and so it's just all target. It's almost impossible to miss.
Okay, so I'm firing both barrels. I guess I'm doing 2d6, and then I add 1d6 because I sang the song of extra damage, the weapon song.
Yep, okay, roll your damage.
Chart topper.
Yeah, see, I'm also one who can refer to the rules, you guys. I can come up with things that are
Nice.
clever. 12 points in total.
Nice.
Well, despite the fearsome report of your shotgun, your hail stick, the Draugr, he appears unfazed, the discharge causing no more damage than the faint hiss of cold vapor.
Gigi's going to take a gamble with how bloated this thing is and cast fart runes upon it to release the gas.
Oh no. With a lit flare.
With a lit flare. It's the Hail Mary.
Again, the Eddas, the sagas are full of these kinds of stories of using the fret rune here, the fart runes, carving them to bring down the swollen forms of your foe. So make a will attack roll, wits attack
This
roll.
is the one, Gigi.
So you're gonna add your wits modifier to a roll.
Nat 20, doesn't matter. Nat 20.
Woohoo!
Yeah, buddy.
Well, do you know, this is actually quite interesting, because rolling a natural 20, not only does your target become uncontrollably flatulent for the next minute, during which time it is impaired and you make attack rolls against it with one wheel, it's also dazed for the next round.
I made him fart so hard, he can't move.
So your carving of the secret fart runes has proved very telling. Bjarnarðr Bjarnarðson is beside himself with wind, flatulent, and impotent rage. For the next round, he can do nothing. So you have a free round in effect. Steve, you can have... You didn't have an action, so you can do two things sequentially. You can have this free round to wail upon the bloated, farting, fetid form. It was already noxious and noisome to begin with. I've used all of the N words.
No, it's pretty good though. Yeah, nice list.
But now it is standing in between you all, just exuding stench and vitriol.
Air will back off and chuck a big lead shot at it, a Gand ball, which is wits versus sleight.
Okay.
It's okay. That adds up to... Am I reading that right,
I think
Bill?
so.
That adds up to... That looks like 27.
Yeah, because you rolled 17 plus 4 and then a 6.
And then 6 more, yes. So the damage... A glorious 3 points of damage that he won't soon forget.
It sounded so
It started
promising.
off really strong, like so many things. Started off really strong and then just kind of fizzled.
Your spell hits home, leaving a gruesome splatter of necrotic flesh on the floor as the Draugr spins round to face you. That was the end of your turn. He's still paralyzed or dazed for the next turn. One of the things that you could do is ask your companions to back off and then unleash your fractured fate whilst next to the creature, because that would do him damage and not everyone.
I can voluntarily release it?
No, but if you failed the roll, having supercharged yourself, because if you spend strain this time around, it would be 3 woes.
Oh, right. Okay, so if I could run next to him, everyone else backs off, Air runs in close to him, uses strain to boost a spell, sort of in the hopes of failing. Is that an accurate statement?
Then you go boom.
I do go boom.
And as long as on the next round you get the hell out of there or you self-fortify, it is a tactic that you can potentially use.
I like the sounds of that. Okay. If that works for everyone else, let's try that.
Bjarnarðr Bjarnarðson is dazed, is venting gases. You can all effectively take a free turn.
How far is Gigi from him?
Are you not next to him right now? Could you strike and then move away?
You are within striking distance with your sword.
Well, I'm not going to use my sword.
Ooh.
Okay.
So describe to me this thing, because in the town
This is
it was
gonna be good.
wasn't it like big and wasn't it big?
I'm sold.
And kind of nebulous and round, right? Or does he still have the shape of a person, or is he kind of like monstrous?
Okay, so he has two forms. So to be clear, he has two forms. He's generally this hulking, zombie-like monstrosity. He is a bloated ox. Mm-hmm. He has the ability to grave walk and turn into a kind of shimmering mist where he can zoom forward and then reassemble his body. And so that's what you've seen. You've seen him both in mist form and in humanoid form.
So he's in humanoid form. Now he is dressed, right?
In his trapper furs, correct.
Okay.
They are strewn with ice crystals, and icicles hang from him. He's blended into the ice cave. He has no body temperature.
Yeah, I still think it's going to be a hard play to pull Trow and show.
You're looking for an opening, is what you're telling us.
I'm looking for an opening, so I'm gonna have to go down the front. So Gigi's gonna flip the flare around and reach out and grab him by the jaw and kind of press in the jaw, where in the hinge, and then shove the flare down his throat just like it's a grenade, and then he's going to step back and go. I was going to have a really good line for that, but really he's just going to look at me like, I'm proud of this.
His whole esophagus begins to glow with an eerie spectral light as the flare catches light in his throat and begins to spark. His whole face erupts in flame, unable to move or defend himself because of the fart runes. The maneuver has been especially effective. He's beginning to smoulder and his ice blue face begins to blacken.
I was hoping it would like the methane.
Still a fabulous effect.
Oh,
Next round, let's see what happens. So Bill, you've got a round.
I'm gonna.
CJ, CJ's backed off. Or Gigi
Yes,
is
I'm
backed
stepping as
10 feet.
back
Yep.
as I can back away because now we're setting off a cloud of methane creature. So yeah, I don't want to be anywhere near that before Steve self-explodes.
yay.
But you can fire off some more buckshot.
Yeah, okay, sure. I'll take another shot. Let's do it. My pleasure. That is a slight roll, correct, for the shot? So
Yep.
15 plus 2, so 17. A palpable hit.
And your damage,
Coming up.
you pepper the Draugr
It's brutal.
with lead shot.
44. It's just 4. 4.
Just four.
4. Yeah.
Well, instead of peppering, maybe is
A dash of salt. A bay toss of salt.
Steve, what would Air like to do to complement this feast of attackers?
I think this calls for some bad decision making. So he will roll forward until he's close. Not within claw range, ideally, but certainly within 10 feet, somewhere 10 to 5 feet away from the horrible monstrosity, one monstrosity to another. And then he's going to summon everything he can to throw another Gand ball in the hopes of overstraining himself. Wow, there's a theme here. Now, in the hopes of overstraining himself and causing something interesting to happen.
Okay, you are actively attempting to fracture reality. So
Yes.
roll your. What spell is it that you're casting?
We'll give him another Gand ball in the face. Another nice lumpy lead shot. So that's a wits. It's going to be with 2 wheel, if I'm reading this right. One for deep-minded and the other one for straining himself. Oh, it might be just as well. No kidding, huh? Okay, so that adds up to 9. Rolls up to...
That's your roll to hit.
Yeah, that's the roll to hit, yeah.
It's still enough because the bloated monstrosity really does just take up all of your half of the cave itself, and so Your shot flies true. Roll for your damage and then make your will roll.
Damage, 3 more damage. Totally a trend here. Damage, and then the strain roll, so that's a will.
So that's a will now with 3 woes.
Yep. That would be 6.
Then your slightly maverick plan has paid off. Reality begins to fracture within your reach, and the creature takes another 10 damage as it straddles the line between this universe and whatever part of the yawning void you tap into.
Broke reality. What a great round.
You are standing perilously close to it, though for the next round, do you want to take fast turns or slow turns?
I would like to take a fast turn and fortify.
Very good. Then you will take half damage as you reassemble your molecular basis in order to defend yourself against or resist or reduce damage from any incoming blows. CJ, the farting, belching, burning monstrosity is now looming above
and the enemy too.
Your Doc Alpha friend.
Gigi's going to draw his hand pistol, and he's going to take a shot in the midsection in the hopes of puncturing whatever organ is between the flare fire and the gases so that he can ignite the thing.
You can do something called a called shot. So if you're aiming for a specific point, a called shot requires that you make your shot with 2 woes, but on a success, the attack has an additional effect as determined by the GM.
Ooh.
No way that could go wrong.
Okay. No way at all. All right, so with my woes, I rolled a 2.
Well, it's twice as good as a 1, sir. Take comfort in that.
You squint, you focus, you level your pistol, aiming for the immense belly, hoping to rupture it, and instead, at the last minute, the shot flies wide and hits an icicle that begins to rent itself from the ceiling. What will Leomi do?
It's all up to you.
I'm going to have another shot.
Have you reloaded this shotgun recently?
Well, not after the last
Say
2
yes.
shots. Yeah, I mean, yes. No, I had 2 shots in a row, so perhaps not.
So
I'll be reloading them.
Your round is going.
Snap. Very aggressive snap.
All right. Well, we now have to see what Bjarni has to say about things. Steve, you take half damage from this because you are fortified, so that will be 6 damage as Bjarni slams you with his shoulder, aiming to toss you to the ground and jump on top of you. So we can go to the next round now.
Does Gigi have any more flare tricks ready?
Bjarni does say as he shoulder barges you to one side, he says,
I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll bash your brains in.
Could you do that again, but more muffled, since you have a flare in your mouth?
Kind of right down his throat, if I understand.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice.
the flare is still fizzing. There is the opportunity for more mayhem if you just get your shot right.
Grotgoth is going to take another cold shot before he's going to mock again. And this time he's going to get very personal because he is so well dressed. He's going to say, "Are those the clothes you died in? Where did your mother shop for those? Costco? At least the living know how to dress."
Costco, obviously, being a franchise that has got all the way to Halmakar.
It's the Norse references, the cultural references that I really appreciate
Yeah.
in CJ's performance.
Costco.
There you go.
I'm sure he's got a platinum membership card.
Okay, so roll 20 with 2 woes.
Yep.
Man, this is just not getting better for me. Oh, that was okay. That was not okay. Okay, with my a 1.
Ooh.
I'm going to remind you of the wonderful world of Ultha, the inspiration points.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is
yes.
a moment.
Go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the moment with my shot. So with the D20, what does that do? I just re-roll?
Nope. Turns a failure into a success.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's do that. Is everybody in agreement?
100%.
Ryotka should have a success?
Absolutely.
Well, then inspiration point and shooting right for the separation between the flare and the gases to ignite this bulbous ball of...
Bulbosity.
Of course, you'd have to have an inspiration point for that to work.
Do we not have one?
No, of course you do.
Wow.
So you cock your pistol, fire into the belly of the brute, and this time it clearly hits some kind of organ that's expelling ruptured gases, and the thing goes up like fireworks. It begins to belch fire like a dragon and flail its arms in panic. It is burning from the inside like an internal mustache.
Aren't we lucky that I passed anatomy class?
Steve, Bill, what did you want to do?
I'm going to shoot, because I did reload, as we all heard, as the recording will show.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go. Oh, that's better. 16 plus 2, so an 18. And then we got a total of 11. That's a little more like it.
Put the shotgun to the side of the creature's head and blast away most of its grinning skull.
Excellent.
Is it dead?
As a life giver and a healer.
Well, sometimes one has to cut in order to
giveth
save, you know.
Taketh away.
Steve?
Yes. Air will back up, so he's not in the range of infinite peril next to the Hindenburg here. And then he will lob his last Gand ball at it.
Well, see,
Or
you
not.
say that, Steve, but
No, it's
I think we need to just check one
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
We need to check one thing. Because when you do trigger your fracture,
Yep.
Yeah.
your strain total drops to 0.
Oh, yeah. And I
But
gain
you
a trauma.
gain 1 trauma.
Yeah.
Now, what happens, Steve, when you gain a trauma?
Well, I go to therapy usually.
Sure, but you're also because of the trials and tribulations of the past few episodes, aren't you narcoleptic?
A narcoleptic robot.
Strange
Oh my
you
God.
should mention that. When game...
I'm fairly sure you go to sleep
You're,
now, Steve.
you're absolutely right. That's glorious. That's 8 minutes.
So you've effectively broken reality and then just had a little nap.
Yes. Yes, he tears reality apart bit by bit, and then it reassembles himself, sort of. And as the pieces come together, he goes to roll away, and the lights flicker, and he just sort of, I don't know, maybe he says, "Oh, balls," and powers down for a while. Nighty night.
And Gigi's response is unusual behavior, laughing at inappropriate moments. So you just also hear at the same. He falls asleep, and you hear Gigi go, "We're so fucked!"
We're all horribly damaged. This is wonderful.
Oh, my word.
Oh, that's great.
This time the hideous beast lurches towards you, Gigi, ignoring everyone else as the person who has insulted him most, and displaying this terrifying strength. The Again Walker advances, aiming a bone-crushing kick designed to send you sprawling on your back, and that is 12 damage.
Oh. Walk it off. Walk it off.
We should come up with a way of dealing with this guy.
The creature exhibits supernatural speed and prepares again to charge with horrifying intent, its grimy claws swiping for your throat. Let's go to the top of the next round.
God. Well,
I feel like I should be healed by someone.
I mean, one of you's asleep, one of you's dying. I think I have a shot left, but I could also heal. All right. Well, I'll do a cure on Gigi then.
Cure Runes heals damage for you up to half of your healing rate.
Yay.
It's really a bit like him giving you a kiss on the knee and saying you've got a boo-boo, isn't it? I will also say to you, Bill, that narcolepsy doesn't mean that he's fully asleep for 8 rounds if he is awoken. So if you are able to amuse me with your description of how you awaken your narcoleptic Doc Owl friend, then he will return to the fray.
I banged.
This will be dignified.
I banged violently on the case with the butt of the shotgun. Just bang, 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 bang.
just hammering on him as if he's like the shutters.
He's
Open
a
up the
stupid
shutters.
machine. I don't really speak to him. God.
Ere you spark back into life, perhaps with a robotic snore of alarm.
I hate you.
CJ, the creature, is right on top of you, affording you a point-blank shot.
Sword time. Gigi draws his sword. He's honor-bound and feeling like this fight's starting to get interesting. And he says, "Back, you foul, flatulent beast! Even a troll wouldn't stand downwind from you!" And he's going to stab the sword as close to down whatever throat is left, since air blew the top side of the head off, right?
Yep.
Just
And you've
kind
got
of
sharp
whatever.
runes on this, right?
I've got sharp runes on it, and also I have Orlog, and I can do it at level 1 still, right? I still have level 1
can.
slots.
Yep.
So, stabby. Kind of like a bullfighter, right? Right down the top. Ah! And let's see what happens. Woo! So 16 and 6, 22.
That means that you've rolled higher than 20 on your attack roll with the sharp runes. So you're going to roll 2d6 damage, another 2
take
dice.
it.
I think your total is going to be 5d6
All
damage.
right. So 15 plus 4, 19.
19 damage is an impressive amount. It reflects the wisdom of the runes. All of your powers have been brought to bear, and the sword slides into its gullet, severing the head that slumps to the floor and rolls away on the icy surface. The rest of the body slumps and lies heavily on top of you, dripping ichor and fumes all over your fancy silk clothes.
Now is it dead?
It does appear to be, but if you wanted to continue the torching and set fire to it and make sure that there's absolutely nothing left, the twitching remnants can be easily disposed of.
First, loot the body, then set it on fire. Order of operations is critical.
Wise words.
Yes, find the deed.
And his
We
wallet.
haven't burned it yet.
Tucked into the trap of furs, kept close to his body at all times, is a vellum scroll that allegedly transfers the whole archipelago of Heimslet from the local tribes to Bjarnarðr and his descendants. The reason why this scroll has survived its icy interment and perhaps its nautical adventures in the Hellsund when you tossed Bjarni over the edge is vellum is water resistant and so has survived the travail. There's also at the back of the cave 2 things that catch your eye glistening in the light of your headlamps. The first is an ornate sword, and the second is a purse containing 50 crowns.
Wow.
Ooh.
You actually recognize the
I was
sword
going to
as-
ask that. Is it in fact Bear Paw?
Look at you with the recall. It is Bear Paw the sword that sliced poor Legsco in half.
Excellent.
Should we take it? Asking for a friend.
We take everything.
Then you may decide amongst yourselves who is best to wield the ancient Viking sword. You can also pack the land deed somewhere safe and pocket the 50 crowns before we conclude proceedings, because that was a relatively successful.
Yes.
No one died.
And we killed things.
No one died.
Intentionally.
We hit things.
Intentionally.
We bordered on
Can you
competence.
kill something that's dead?
Yes.
Yeah, we just did. Have you not been paying attention?
It's already dead. We just more deaded
We
it.
re-killed it.
It's now double dead.
Wait, what was the Norse word? Is the again walkers?
Apteganger.
Apteganger, again walkers, right? Yeah. So we're a opta
They're
deader.
never again. They're never again walkers now. Is the dad joke signifier?
Yeah.
And the podcast screeches to a grinding halt. What I would say is, think about the ramifications and the repercussions of the dead rising from the grave. Think about the implications of having this land deed, and decide, as the kind of epilogue to that epic combat, how you might like to proceed back at the town of Haltmakar.
I think at this point the people of the town are at least passingly aware of the perils going around after the killing spree.
Sure, they don't necessarily know that it was Bjarnarðr Bjarnarðson.
Right. We can apportion blame as a critical part of any project.
We should go back to the law speaker, because he actually assigned us this job to go figure out who
True.
killed Finnbogi, right? So we go back to him, we tell him what's happened. I think Gigi takes the sword. He's honestly the most competent
Absolutely.
fighter. And you hide the land deed in one of your slots.
Oh, yes, I have slots,
Yep,
don't I?
yep.
I will insert it about my person.
Yes, indeed. And but I don't know whether we take the deed back to Daniel or we take it to the law speaker, and if any one of our party might have a claim on the land somehow.
I'm trying to think how to translate possessing this deed into a claim on something. So the deed says that it belongs to Bjarni's descendants. Mm-hmm. It's not like a whoever holds it owns it sort of thing.
Correct. Inheritance law applies to add to mining law and property law.
So it transfers ownership away from, you said, the native people, the local residents?
The original inhabitants of the archipelago several hundred years ago.
Do we know who they are? Wonder if they would be happy if the deed were to be torn up. Because otherwise we tell them, here's the deed, and they go, great, we'll give it to Daniel. And then that's the end of that.
It's the law speaker is going to have to basically certify it to say this is real, it's legitimate, and then from there, that's when the big decisions can be made. Gigi is also covered in icky, and so he's going to say, before that, could we go back to the hotel and take a bath, and with some of this money, new clothes?
Right, new clothes.
Yeah, and possibly a dry cleaner.
Oh, I could just do with new
Oh,
clothes.
I'm sorry. How foolish of me.
They went out of fashion a week ago.
We will allow you to perform such ablutions and perfumery as you desire, and then we will shimmer dissolve to the law speaker's dining room, where you enjoyed a lovely lunch of lutefisk. If you present the deed to him, the law speaker is incredibly excited, and he says, well, I will need a few days to study the deed, but you can tell by the calligraphy and this black wax seal. It seems very very authentic. But before I can proclaim that it is genuine, we we need to understand the implications, the ramifications, because you do know what this means. It means that Bjarnard's heirs have legitimate claim to the whole of the world's edge, a claim worth untold millions in mineral rights. Talk about Draupnir's Drew. If I were you, I would find the surviving family and perhaps claim a finder's fee. Who did you say it was? Daniel the Jotun?
Yes. Yeah.
That's correct. It was
Well, of
Daniel.
course, the challenge of a Jotun inheriting sacred land is legion. You can imagine the uproar within the empire for a Jotun to claim imperial soil. Fortunately, his DNA is very likely heavily corrupted and will not pass muster. Is very unlikely to be able to legitimize his inheritance. There may well still be imperial records in Kongstein, though. Of course, the problem is that's Doc Alfar territory now. Maybe less of a problem with if your former colleague had survived.
Gigi is thinking, and this is the backstory of the Yofur. They do not like the Jotun, so he's thinking he's not enjoying the prospect of Daniel, who was not a particularly good host, having access to this deed that carries so much weight with it. He definitely doesn't think Daniel is competent enough to do anything worthwhile with it. So this is what he's thinking, and then he'll say, well, take your time, and we will do some research of our own.
Air has some knowledge of laws and customs. Does a deed like this that gives title to the land, does that include what's below the land, the mineral rights and what have you, the caves and the caverns and all that down below the land to the depth of whatever?
Yes.
And what does...
In imperial law, that would be the case. The nature of this deed is to give all of the land and all of the riches that it contains to the legitimate heir.
So if there is a Dakafar colony or settlement or something like that pre-existing below the surface, they suddenly wake up to find that their land is owned by someone?
You'd have to dispute that, and you'd have to claim that you were there first, so to speak. Then it becomes a whole legal debate about whether the original owners were able to deliver this deed, whether they did so with sound mind, whether they did so having their arm twisted, whether they were conned, whether they were fooled. There's all kinds of legal arguments that you could get into. Of course, that's not necessarily the Doc Alfar way. The Doc Alfar way is more likely to pop up and murder everybody.
Oh, good, because that's kind of where I was leaning.
And that's certainly what happened at Kongstein, which was the former capital of this region. Kongstein was evacuated. People like Bjarnarðr Bjarnarðson used to live in Kongstein. They're talking about his records being there. People left in haste when the Doc Alfar emerged and took control of the diamond mines there.
Are the Doc Alfar in control of the records?
To the best of your recollection, having, certainly when you left there, the Doc Alfar still reside in the mines below ground and have left the human settlement and habitation to fall to rack and ruin. Kongstein is effectively a ghost town, and your people reside in the warmth and seclusion of the dark mines.
Because, speaking above the table, I legit don't know how to proceed with this. Whether it's to go back and find the rest of my heirs' people and tell them what's going on and rouse their righteous indignance to do something about it, or kill Daniel's family, or what. I don't know what to do.
We have the deed.
Yes.
We are possessors of it. Let's sell it. I know some rich people in Asgard. So I'm a rich person, but I know even richer people who would love mineral rights. and don't care about Daniel.
It's not ours to sell.
Yes, it is.
Oh. Well, when you put it that way, I'm convinced.
I've got clothes at the hotel with bloodstains that tell me otherwise. We own it.
So right now, Crapty has to run it through has to authenticate it. And once he has proved that it is a valid and enforceable land deed, then you may indeed decide how to deal with it, whether to sell it on, whether to give it to someone, whether to enforce one particular group's rights over the other. Any and all of those decisions will have knock-on effects and ramifications.
So he will validate it and then give it back to us?
He is, after all, the law speaker. He is the epitome of law. He is the embodiment of doing the right thing.
Which is giving it back to the people who found it. Okay. Well, that gives us leverage.
Yeah.
Unless he's murdered.
He said casually, speaking to no one.
Almost hopefully, yeah.
I'm just saying, we won't get him back if he's murdered and it's stolen.
Well, literally... Well, okay, who knows it's here? He does. We do.
And the ghost thing.
Well, we killed the ghost thing.
I mean,
Now-
is it dead?
Yeah, how dead is it?
Well, there is this clear evidence that the dead is rising, and so Crapty also says to you, my friends, you have done the town a great service, but the town elders have organized a hasty meeting. We need to gather at the Firefox Institute. We've been summoned to explain what you have discovered to date. What you've been doing some investigation. We still haven't quite put our finger on where the lovely Bryn and my hireling folk have disappeared to, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Bangsy Evalderson, who is the lector at the Firefox Institute, he does want to interview you directly.
Okay.
All right.
So you'll remember the Firefox Institute was this airy pine building that has the feel of a hall of learning. And you remember perhaps two characters from that environment, both Blaine and Bangsy. Bangsy was the white-robed overseer who stomped down into the foyer and demanded that the signal be turned off. Blaine was the one who addressed you affectionately as grandfather. But also with them, as you enter the building, you notice two other people you've seen before, dressed in trim black and white suits. They've also got the insignia of the Noaton Institute, and there are these two gap men, two agents of the Noaton facility, who are standing in the background, peering over their dark glasses, looking somewhat skeptical of you as a trio: the prim, well-dressed peacock, the broken down heap of old shit, and
Yeah, screw you too.
and the lofty, long-limbed alpha.
Since the Yofur are known to keep Vegar around, then wouldn't they just assume that Steve's with me?
Possibly. I mean, certainly they won't be referring to him as grandfather anymore, because he's not in that arcane and exquisite body that he once possessed. And Steve, I would suggest to you that one of the ways in which you might be able to regain your former stature is to revisit Kongstein and house yourself in a more suitable body.
Oh, go home and get a new body. Oh, that's how that works. Okay.
That's a
Yeah,
good
in the
idea.
meantime, there's no reason for the locals to know otherwise, so Air will reluctantly pretend to be a personal assistant to Gigi.
Bangsy Valdison, the lector, addresses you. He is an academic with a ferocious intellect and almost a snarl playing around his lips. You last saw him angrily berating his assistant Blaine for not dealing with the signal. He glowers in your direction and says, "Well, what do you have to say for yourselves? What on earth is going on?"
There are bad things happening, but we have somehow scraped out alive.
That didn't sound suspicious.
It is readily apparent that we find ourselves in an unprecedented crisis. It has been alleged that the spectres of the deceased, once peacefully at rest, are now roused, stirring turmoil in our quiet haven. Is this correct?
Yes, the dead rise, Leomi offers, and strange creatures have faced us on the hill. Many mysteries have arisen. We are working as we can best to understand them, but it is very challenging and complicated, and a great deal of violence. There has been much danger.
Do not tax yourself too hard, Alpha. Now, responding to this burgeoning crisis, the law speaker Crapty tells me he has taken appropriate steps to confront it. And these appropriate steps would be sending you to deal with things. What of Bryn, Evaldi's daughter, one of our esteemed faculty members? Where will we find her?
We don't know that we don't know. Possibly in a different dimension.
There was a flash.
It was very bright.
Flash. And strange beings. And
clearly
sitting-
not a flash of inspiration.
No.
No.
No, definitely not.
She was very brave.
After a thorough investigation conducted under our vigilant supervision here at the Firefox Institute, a sinister revelation has come to light. Contrary to reports of ancient curses or supernatural elements, the sons of Evaldi have determined that a mutant strain of Raboon fever is at fault, traced back regrettably to unsanitary practices within the Jotnar fish markets. Understandably, such a revelation demands swift and decisive action. As of dawn tomorrow, the sick house will be under stringent quarantine, restricting the further spread of this contagion, and to protect our citizenry from this rampant infection, all trade with Speakborg will be ceased. These measures shall be on hold until we have restored our dear town back to normalcy, and I implore that you and everyone else cooperate fully in these dire times for the benefit of our town and our shared safety. Am I clear?
Do you mean to tell me that all of this is happening because of rotten fish? Are you trying to insult our intelligence?
I fear it is impossible to insult what doesn't exist. However, that is exactly what I am telling you. It is fish from the Jotun markets, and dealings with those vermin must cease immediately. We, the Winter Wires, have determined it so.
It's hard not to like him.
The Vikings and Valkyries podcast is hammered together by a dedicated team of Skalds and Smiths. Please don't forget to like, share, and sacrifice to the old gods.